What's going on, Soul Fam? Welcome to Mira D Tarot. I'm Mira D here today with your new moon / solar eclipse video for June the 10th of 2021. To all of my new subscribers, thank you so much for being here. To all of my old subscribers, thank you so much for coming back and for your support. And to anyone who's new to this video or this channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below for new moon, full moon videos with accompanying meditations occasionally. All right, so let's go ahead and get straight into it, y'all. So first off, let me start by asking, how have y'all been since the eclipse? So we just had a lunar eclipse last month on, I believe it was the 26th of May. It was the 26th of May, and this was in Sagittarius. And so eclipses, as we know, are always about walking through portals. Eclipses are all about stepping into this next level of ourselves. And with that, sometimes and usually comes having to shed off the old stuff. So it can be like a real ass whooping, y'all. It can really come through hard for us. And so especially with Pluto being in retrograde in Capricorn right now, and also with Saturn being in retrograde in Aquarius, and Mercury now, as of just a few days ago, being in retrograde in Gemini, we have a lot of internal stuff coming up. So I know that for me personally, it has been incredibly rough, but in the way that a lot of old things have been coming up to be purged, a lot of old things have been coming up to be recognized by the version of myself that I am now, and the opportunities for me to regain my power have really come back. And so I've been noticing that that's a pattern amongst many of us, even if it's in different areas of life. We have all really been kind of coming face to face with that. And so also I will look into, like, your personal chart and see how these different placements are affecting you in that way as well. But the thing about the lunar eclipses is the lunar eclipse brings us onto the terrain of the internal world. And so we're brought to a point of having to face our internal selves, where these things that are subconscious and hidden are coming up to the surface. These are things that we may have thought that we were over. These are things that we may have thought that we've grown past. These can be habits, addictions, people, relationships, things of all natures can show up because we're being given the opportunity to recognize that we're not completely healed. And so we have to understand that there's a very big difference between thinking that you're healed and thinking positive and, having this idea that you're healed. You're conceptualizing healing versus actually integrating and experiencing healing in the soul, in the heart, and in the energetic realms, So we have to be very big and aware, because a lot of the times when we're saying, oh, I'm completely healed from that thing, a lot of times that's the ego speaking. And yes, maybe we may have leveled up from that thing and we may have had some healing in that realm, but recognize that healing is an ongoing and everlasting process. We're going to reach new levels with it, but as we revisit these situations, we slowly chip away off the block of that which is blocking us from moving forward and being the truth of who we were really brought here to be. Okay? And so with the solar eclipse coming up, all of this internal stuff that's been coming up, so all the internal stuff that's been boiling to the surface now has the opportunity to show up in the physical realm, so there are one of two things that are going to happen. One, we're going to be not only experiencing these feelings within ourselves, but we're going to now have the opportunity to meet situations that give us the opportunity to take our power back. And so the best way to understand how to take your power back in the first place is to allow yourself to go into the heart, because the ego may be like, oh, well, I need to take my power back by doing what this person did to me, or I need to take my power back by going as hard as I can. But the only way you're really going to know what step is the way to take your power back is to sit with yourself and to tune into your heart, to go with what feels right to you, and to understand and be in tune with the subtle energy of where that feeling right is coming from. Because we're learning to, as we grow and as we become more conscious and as our vibration raises, we're learning to become more conscious, less reactive, and more of the active principle in our relationships to things in the self. You know what I'm saying? The things around us in the self. So that's to say that also the second thing with the solar eclipses too is that while we use the lunar eclipses, that nighttime, that subconscious, to kind of bring to the surface, clear out and purge, the solar eclipses are the opportunity for us to bring new things into the space of what it is that we cleared out. And so that's the thing we have to remember. I know a lot of us are set on this journey of healing, and we need to heal and we need to do this, but we also have to remember that everything is cyclical in life. Everything has a season. And so while the lunar eclipse was definitely the season for the clearing out, and we will still be doing more clearing out as we move along with Pluto still being in retrograde, we are going to be in a space of where it's now time to kind of bring some of those things, bring new things into that space. And so when I say bring, the thing is that it's not that we have to go out and we have to be forceful and we have to look for these things and we got to be like, we have to, as we're growing and becoming more conscious, step away from the idea that if we don't get it done, then it's not going to happen. As I've said in many videos before, there's a force that has never forgotten to let the sun rise. And there's a force that gives us our next breath, without us even trying. There's a force that beats our heart. There's a force that changes the seasons, and they're never late. They're always on time, and so understanding that now that space is cleared out, you have it now opens up the opportunity for new things that are more suited for who you are right now to show up. Keyword, show up. Okay. All right. So, as far as that goes, that's mainly the whole thing that I have to say about that. With it being in Gemini too, so we've got this solar eclipse in Gemini, there's going to be a lot about communication, communicating our needs, talking about not even just to other people, but to ourselves especially. And this is where it starts. What are your needs? What things do you need to survive and to thrive as this version of yourself right now? What things do you need to feel happy, to feel healthy, to feel supported, to feel loved in this world? These are the things that we're coming face to face with ourselves, and we're going to start inviting people into our lives who are open to listening to our needs and showing up accordingly. But remember that this has to go back and forth as well. We have to be able to show up for other people too, which is not a thing of self-sacrifice. It is definitely a thing of when you meet those people that you really have that deep connection with and you really have that love for, and these can be people that have been around too, you'll want to see them happy, and see them flourish, and it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. Okay. And so, as I was saying with the Gemini, there's also different ways to communicate. We are moving more away from verbal communication, and which is fine. Verbal communication is fine too, but we're learning how to pay attention to the subtle signs, our own energies, the energies of other people, that initial feeling when you meet somebody or meet a thing of whether that thing resonates with you or not. These are the energies that we're tuning into because, and something I've just realized over the past couple weeks, we don't have to like everybody, y'all. We're not bad people for not liking with or not vibing with everybody. Like, there are certain things that just don't go together, and that's okay. And that's the thing, is like we've kind of gotten this programming where we tend to ignore what our initial gut feeling is about things because we're afraid of being a bad person, or we try to figure out, okay, well then why don't I like this person? Look, we have this innate compass, and that's what this Gemini is going to be really bringing up to us, is that this is the absolute biggest time for us to listen to our inner compasses. Okay. And so there's going to be a lot of other ways that things communicate too, through feelings, through moods, through vibes, through colors, through seeing signs, synchronicities. Everything around us and within us is always trying to communicate with us. But being open and receptive and being in tune with yourself, in alignment with yourself, is what opens up those channels of communication so that we can receive the messages. It's not about looking everywhere for the 777 or, trying to make things mean things. Everything already means something, It all already means what it means. But when we're able to tune in with ourselves and be in alignment, we can start to pay attention to the subtle things. And so part of what I would suggest for y'all is to start with, if you're not already meditating and stuff like that, or doing floats at a float center or something like that, where you're getting to spend time to yourself and pay attention to the subtle energies of yourself, the subtle changes that are happening within and around you. I would recommend starting to do something like that, because it is very, very subtle. And if we're busy all the time and we're moving all the time, we're not going to be able to tune into the small differences and recognize these things. And the more we work with it, the stronger it gets. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move into the tarot aspect of this, so hang tight. All right, y'all, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle up the cards and give some insight. I'm working again with the Hermetic Tarot. This has been the one that's been calling to me the most lately. So, and I'm going to finish up with the Rune. But as usual, we're going to do what we're releasing. what we're bringing in, and how to sustain ourselves. So I feel like this is the most simplistic spread that I can do, because really it's all about listening to and tuning into your own energy and seeing what feels right for you individually and what resonates with you. And that's why I don't like to get too deep into the cards, because I don't want to tell you what to feel or how to think. I'm just giving you guidelines of the surrounding energy, and you can tune into yourself and move in accordance to how that is manifesting and working around in your life, okay? Because we all have this inner knowledge. So I recommend just like, checking for reference. And basically what I do is like, well, I have done in the past. I don't need to necessarily anymore, but I'll be like, I'll have this stuff as confirmation for what I'm already experiencing and feeling, okay? Because we're not supposed to be in the realm of really trusting too much outside information so much as we are being in tune with ourselves, All right, so let's see what we are releasing. Ooh, so we got the 8 of Cups coming up, y'all. So with the 8 of Cups coming up, the 8 of Cups is all about moving forward, moving on, and allowing ourselves to let go. So this is a time where the things that we have worked on really hard, things that we may have thought were going to last forever, are no longer serving us. And so it's like we've been pretty much grasping on for dear life and really been like trying to hold on to a lot of things, especially emotional connections, especially things that are long term and things that have been close to our heart. These can be old relationships. These can be jobs and things like that though too. But really the feeling of it is yeah, you've worked really hard on it, but sometimes we're actually losing by staying with something that's not benefiting us or allowing us to move forward, And a lot of us look at loss as like, oh, well, I'm losing this thing, or I'm losing this person, or I put so much energy into this and I invested so much into it that I'm losing by letting it go. No, in this case, and in a lot of cases, you're really losing by holding on, because the potential of what you can become is locked up and wrapped up in this thing that's keeping you from experiencing that. Okay, so sometimes we just have to bite the bullet and move forward from the things that we thought, the things that we put a lot of energy into, and start to open up to how new things may manifest. They may have only had that one purpose and that only lesson, that one lesson to give to you. So move forward. There's other stuff waiting for you. In the position of what we're bringing in, we've got the 3 of Cups, and so the 3 of Cups, again, the same thing, the other end of the energy or whatnot. So the 3 of Cups is about celebration. Once you feel that energy flowing, like it's going to be amazing, because the 8 of Cups is saying that you are keeping, look at the energy of this card. There isn't any flow. These cups are kind of full. These 2 cups are full. The rest of them are completely empty. There's nothing there, There's these 2 little wilty flowers pouring into it and everything like that, but it really isn't a situation of flow, But when you look at the 3 of Cups, look at that energy moving. There's water pouring into the cups. The flowers look upright and alive. There's life coming from everything. There's a rolling ocean down beneath. You know what I'm saying? And so if we look at the bottom of this card, we see the Lord of Abandoned Success. Okay, and so we have to redefine what success means to us as the people that we are now, because maybe success meant to us 2 years ago, having, a husband and, traveling the world with them, or maybe just as simple as getting this job at this telemarketing place, But the thing is that what serves you now? Because now maybe you've gotten, now maybe that's changed for you. Now maybe you've gotten what you needed from that type of situation, And so now it's time to redefine those things, because there's a lot of, like I said, stagnance, and you're losing by staying. But the Lord of Abundance, as you can see here, if we let go of the things that used to define us and the things that are no longer serving us, we get to experience the Lord of Abundance, the flow, the beauty, the reigniting of the flame within us that connects us to life and passion. Okay, and so how are we sustaining this? So the sustaining factor is the 9 of Swords, anxiety. So this is the Lord of Despair and Cruelty. Okay, and so when we see the 9 of Swords coming up, it says that it's all in your head. That the biggest thing keeping you from moving forward is the thought of what might happen if you leave. The thought of what might happen if you decide to let this thing go. The only thing that's keeping you held in this place, and now you're a prisoner and a slave, and you're trapped and you're stuck, you know, you're a prisoner because of your own mind, because of your thought processes, because of your fear that if you let this go, something else won't come up, you know, something more amazing won't come up, or that there's some, you know. And that's the thing, is we always get into this mindset that, oh, it's going to end up bad, it's going to fail, it's going to be, you know, where is that coming from? Why can't it end up good? You know, and why don't you deserve things to be better than they are in this moment? The more we trust and the more we allow ourselves to let go, and the more we trust the feelings, just know that we're going to always be led into something that's beyond what we can expect, you know? And so the Nine of Swords says that our sustaining force, and in this case, I think that sustaining means more so what's kind of holding us in the same place, in this same spot, is the anxiety, the fear of moving forward. And so let's get the card off the bottom here and clarify and see, what do we have here? The Five of Cups. Oh yeah, like I said, these transits are tearing everybody a whole new asshole. But the Five of Cups, the beauty in this is, while it is, look, Lord of loss and pleasure. This is a lot to do in the emotional realms, though, y'all. So a lot of our relationships and a lot of our old relationships and things we thought we were connecting to are going to be falling away. This doesn't look like it has much to do with like necessarily like jobs or things like that. And it could in some realms if you're really emotionally attached to your job. But this is really about our relationships, y'all. Crumbling, falling. But the Five of Cups, the blessing in the Five of Cups is that this is what's perceived as a loss is actually a gain. The Five of Cups says that if you keep focusing on what you quote unquote perceive that you're losing, then you really are going to end yourself up in a situation where you miss out on your blessings and the things that are trying to come in for you. So this is a blessing in disguise. What we think is a loss is actually us moving forward. A friend of mine sent me a thing the other day, and I think it says something along the lines of, sometimes growth can feel like loss. You know, sometimes moving into our next phase can feel like loss, but it's not. It really is a blessing in disguise. So just trust and let yourself be where you are in this time. You know, give yourself grace. Just be accepting of where you are. There's not a need to try to change it or climb out of it. Just let what's happening happen. Let it fall. Let it crumble. As my neighbor slash friend slash landlord slash soul sister said the other day, she said, you know, that when caterpillars go into the cocoon, they don't kind of pick themselves apart and rearrange themselves like neatly and stuff like that. No, they turn into goo. They completely fall all the way apart, completely apart, and then they reemerge as something brand new. They're not holding on to an eyeball or a leg. They turn into a whole nother substance, and then they let it all fall apart, and then they reemerge as something way more beautiful. So that to say, the Six of Pentacles comes up as well. The Six of Pentacles talks about balance, and it also talks about material success. Because you let go of all these things, now this other stuff can start to manifest in your physical world. All right, so we're going to start to see things show up in the physical world. And the great thing about the Six of Pentacles is it's all about balance, and it's all about things that give back. And when I say things that give back, this means that there's no more one-sidedness. This means that you're going to start meeting people that are showing up with their own energy and 100% of their own energy, so they don't need to borrow yours. You know, they don't need to take from your cup or from your stash, you know? And that's what we're looking for. That's really what makes the world go round. So just be prepared with that. I'm going to go ahead and pull a rune out of the fancy rune bag and read that to you. Let's see. So today we have this type of deal here. So let me see what that is. Let me find it. 109. Okay. So this one, defense, the yew tree. All right. I'll hold this up here. It says, as we are tested, we fund the power to avert blockage and defeat. At the same time, we develop in ourselves an aversion to the conduct that creates stress in our lives. If there appears to be an obstacle in your path, consider that even a delay may prove to be beneficial. Do not be overly eager to press forward, for this is not a time or situation in when you can make your influence felt. Patience is the counsel of this rune. Nothing hectic, no acting needy or lusty after a desired outcome. This rune speaks to the difficulties that can arise at the beginning of a new life. Often it announces a time of waiting for a spring to fill up with water, for fruit to ripen on the bough. Perseverance and foresight are called for here. The ability to foresee consequences before you act is a mark of the profound person. Avert anticipated difficulties through right action, this rune is saying. And yet, even more than we are doers, we are deciders. Once a decision is clear, the doing becomes effortless, for then the universe supports and empowers our action. Receiving this rune, you are put on notice that through inconvenience and discomfort, growth is promoted. This may well be a trying time. Certainly, it is a meaningful one. So set your house in order, tend to your business, be clear, and wait on the will of heaven. All right, soul fam. So there you have it. This solar eclipse is, again, like I said, bringing us more of the energy of finally starting to be able to move new things into our life, but we're also, the closer we get to it, going to be pushed harder and harder to let go of the things that are standing in the way, because you can't, if it's already full, if your slot is already full, and I don't care if you're asking for a new partner, if you're asking for a new job, a house, whatever it is, like, whatever you're asking for, you can't fit anything into the slot if you've already got stuff in that slot. So if you've already still got all these X's and stuff that you can't let go of and things like that, how do you expect for somebody that's this person that you're asking for to fit into the slot? It's like the universe is like a machine at a factory, and it's going by and it's dropping things into the different slots, but your slot is already full, so it's going to bypass that and drop it into other slots. And so that's to say that we're going to be, so these next few days may be rough. And I mean, like I said, that's just like up until October, we're going to be getting a lot more of this energy and stuff though too, just because we're going to have so many planets in retrograde. And I know that we look at retrogrades like they're this negative thing, but the reality of the situation is that these retrogrades are here to bring us to reflect within ourselves, to traverse the inner terrain, to discover what's in here, y'all. Because we spend so much time, especially in our world, looking out here for the answers, over watching YouTube videos, scrolling through Instagram, trying to asking other people. So we have to get back to in here, and so that's where we're at. And so I hope that this reading was helpful to y'all, and I'll still be taking a few tarot readings and things like that. Also, practicing some bone reading as well. So I will leave the information down below. You can follow me on Instagram for updates and other news at Mercury Tarot. And you can also find me, we already on here, so you already found me on here. So anyway, I thank y'all so much, and I will see y'all next time. Until then, peace.